Lesson 129. Beyond this world there is a world I want. This is the thought that follows from the one we practiced yesterday. You cannot stop with the idea the world is worthless, for unless you see that there is something else to hope for, you will only be depressed. Our emphasis is not on giving up the world, but on exchanging it for what is far more satisfying, filled with joy, and capable of offering you peace. Think you, this world can offer that to you. It might be worth a little time to think once more about the value of this world. Perhaps you will concede there is no loss in letting go all thought of value here. The world you see is merciless indeed, unstable, cruel, unconcerned with you, quick to avenge and pitiless with hate. It gives but to rescind and takes away all things that you have cherished for a while. No lasting love is found, for none is here. This is the world of time, where all things end. Is it a loss to find a world instead where losing is impossible, where love endures forever, hate cannot exist, and vengeance has no meaning? Is it lost to find all things you really want and know they have no ending, and they will remain exactly as you want them throughout time? Yet even they will be exchanged at last for what we cannot speak of. For you go from there to where words fail entirely, into a silence where the language is unspoken and yet surely understood. Communication, unambiguous and plain as day, remains unlimited for all eternity. And God himself speaks to his Son, as his Son speaks to him. Their language has no words, for what they say cannot be symbolized. Their knowledge is direct and wholly shared and wholly one. How far away from this are you who stay bound to this world? And yet how near are you when you exchange it for the world you want? Now is the last step certain. Now you stand an instant space away from timelessness. Here can you but look forward, never back to see again the world you do not want. Here is the world that comes to take its place as you unbind your mind from little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. Value them not, and they will disappear. Esteem them, and they will seem real to you. Such is the choice. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness? This world holds nothing that you really want, but what you choose instead, you want indeed. Let it be given you today. It waits but for your choosing it, to take the place of all the things you seek but do not want. Practice your willingness to make this change 10 minutes in the morning and at night and once more in between. Begin with this. Beyond this world there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. Then close your eyes upon the world you see, and in the silent darkness watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one, until where one begins another ends loses all meaning as they blend in one. Today, the lights of heaven bend to you, to shine upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. Here is light your eyes cannot behold, and yet your mind can see it plainly and can understand. A day of grace is given you today, and we give thanks. This day we realize that what you feared to lose was only loss. Now do we understand there is no loss, for we have seen its opposite at last, and we are grateful that the choice is made. Remember your decision hourly, and take a moment to confirm your choice by laying by whatever thoughts you have and dwelling briefly only upon this. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Not because this one is evil, but because it could never hold the truth of what I am. I am not asked to give up my hopes, only to lift them higher. If I am tired, it is not from wanting too much, but from settling for too little. There is a world beyond this one that holds the memory of God. It is not made of buildings or bodies. but of light and peace and laughter without end. This lesson doesn't shame the world. It just gently says, you were never wrong to seek joy. You just forgot where it lives. Think you this world can offer that to you? Look closely. Have you ever found anything here that didn't fade? Did any triumph last? Did any form of love not ask for something back? This world teaches sacrifice. But the world I want teaches only abundance. This world withholds. But the one I remember gives, always, forever. So I rest today, in stillness, in quiet, in willingness. I let go of seeking, and I let the real world rise to meet me. Beyond this world is not death, but life, not punishment, but the end of all punishment, not exile, but the home I never truly left. I accept that world today because it is already mine. I accept that world because it was given me by God, and nothing real can be lost. Beyond this world, there is a world I want, and it is already here. It might be worth a little time, just a little time, to think again about the value of this world, not the world itself, but the value we've given it. Perhaps you will concede. There is no loss in letting go all thought of value here. What would you be losing, except the thoughts that never truly gave you anything? See, the value came from the thought, not from the thing. And the world you see is merciless indeed. Merciless means it never stops, never asks if you're okay. It just keeps taking. It is unstable. Today it lifts you up. Tomorrow it forgets your name. It is cruel, punishing softness, mocking weakness, rewarding numbness and calling it strength. It is unconcerned with you. It doesn't ask if your heart is breaking. It doesn't care why you couldn't show up today. You are not a soul to the world. You are a function. It is quick to avenge. One slip and it comes for you. Cancel culture, office politics, unforgiving algorithms and memoryless crowds. It is pitiless with hate. It doesn't just hurt, it enjoys hurting and feels no guilt. It gives, but to rescind, it hands you love with one hand and takes it back with the other when you don't perform. It gives you moments of peace, then floods them with fear again. And it takes away all things you have cherished for a while. Not some things, all things. The people, the places, the identities, the roles, all time-bound. It says there is no lasting love here, and it's not being cruel, it's just telling the truth, because none is here. This is the world of time, where all things end. And when we finally concede that, not as a punishment, but as a mercy, we stop trying to make a kingdom out of sandby. We stop trying to find permanence in the temporary. And that's not loss. That's the beginning of peace. Is it a loss to find a world instead where losing is impossible? That question right there is the crack in the door. The Course isn't demanding anything from us. It's asking, would it really be a loss to stop losing? Is it a loss to step out of heartbreak? Is it a loss to stop being afraid of goodbye? We've grown so used to sorrow that joy feels suspicious. So Spirit has to ask us, gently, instead of telling us, would it really be a loss to find out that you can't be abandoned anymore? Where love endures forever, hate cannot exist, vengeance has no meaning. That's not fantasy, that's home. That's your natural state, your inheritance. What was created with you and never changed? Is it a loss to find all things you really want and know they have no ending and will remain exactly as you want them throughout time? Let's pause here. What do we really want? Not the car, not the job, not even the relationship in form. We want certainty. We want to rest. We want to stop adjusting our hearts to survive the day. We want to know that love won't leave when we mess up, that joy won't vanish when the form shifts. That's what it means. All things you really want. Peace, safety, union, innocence. And now here comes the turn. Yet even they will be exchanged at last for what we cannot speak of. Even the real world, even the peace that doesn't fade, even the love that endures, will be exchanged, not lost, not taken, but lifted. Because they too are still symbols, symbols of something so holy. Words can't reach it. And here it is. You go from there to where words fail entirely, into a silence where the language is unspoken and yet surely understood. Why does the silence frighten us? Because we've been taught to talk our way to safety, to think our way to love, to explain our way to worth. But silence doesn't need convincing. Silence isn't empty. It's full. It's the space where God already answered, where nothing needs to be earned, because nothing was ever taken. The world never offered that silence. It's too busy, too loud, too restless. But this silence, this presence, knows exactly what you are. And when you're ready, it will welcome you back into the wordless. And you'll understand it completely, because it's what you've always been. Communication unambiguous and plain as day. That's how God speaks. Not in riddles, not in metaphors, not through signs that need decoding, but direct. That word, unambiguous, means it's not open to interpretation. There is no maybe in God, no double meanings, no fine print, just pure, radiant truth. And it says, that kind of communication is unlimited, for all eternity, not sometimes, not when you've been good, not if you say the right prayer, always. The ego scrambles to speak, it clutters, it filters, it twists. But this voice, it doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it doesn't argue, it just is. And then comes the line that drops the veil, and God himself speaks to his Son as his Son speaks to him. There's no hierarchy, no distance, no waiting room. It's not God over there and you over here. It's communion, not communication, not talking, but knowing. Because their language has no words. Let that land. No words. Because what they say cannot be symbolized. It cannot be put into images. Why? Because symbols imply separation, and this knowing is one. This is direct, not mediated, not delayed. This is pure transmission. No middleman, no translation. This is knowledge, and it is wholly shared and wholly one. Wholly, as in completely, no remainder. Your knowing is God's knowing. God's knowing is yours. No gap, no slippage, no echo. So it asks, how far away from this are you who remain bound to the world? You feel far, but you're not. You feel delayed, but you're already there. Because the very fact that you can long for this means it was never truly gone. And now, how near are you when you exchange it for the world you want? That's it. Not earn, not achieve, not conquer. Exchange. Trade the noise for the silence that knows. Trade the symbol for the direct experience. Trade the effort for the remembrance. You are not far. You are not broken. You are not missing anything. You are simply ready. And the voice that speaks to you without words is already speaking now. Now is the last step certain. Now you stand, an instant space away from timelessness, not a lifetime away, not 1,000 lifetimes, not even a long hallway, an instant. That's how thin the veil is. That's how near the truth always was. Here you can only look forward, never back to see again the world you do not want. That's not just poetic, that's a statement of readiness. Because when the mind truly unbinds, there's nothing left to return to. Why would you look back on a world built to break your heart? Why would you chase again the promises that always cancel themselves? This is not judgment, it's clarity. The world we do not want is the one we secretly always knew was unstable. But we still searched it, still tried to make it work. Because we forgot there was another world. And here's where it turns. Here is a world that comes to take its place. It's not that the old world gets fixed, it gets replaced. And how? As you unbind your mind. Unbind your mind. From what? From the little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. And what are those little things? The need to be liked, the obsession with productivity, the comparison scroll, the trophy chase, the news cycle, the next sale, the last word, the first place. The daily subtle pull to prove you matter by doing something that never needed to be done. These are the little things, and they're not evil, they're just bait. They distract, they exhaust, they whisper, just one more thing and then you'll rest. But the Course says, value them not, and they will disappear. Not fight them, not fix them, just stop valuing them, and they will vanish. Why? Because they were never real in the first place. They seemed real not only because we esteemed them. We admired the lie. We gave prestige to the problem. We worshipped the complexity. And so it seemed real, but only to us. That's the key. It didn't become real. It just became real to you. And now, you withdraw your esteem. You stop elevating the world's noise, and you let stillness rise. This is how freedom comes. Not with force, but with an unbinding. Such is the choice. And there it is, laid bare. No grey area, no wiggle room. You're not being punished. You're not being tested. You're just choosing. Choosing between reality and illusion, between everything and nothing. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness? That's a real question. What do you actually lose by letting go of what never loved you? What do you lose by releasing what was always empty? The world taught us that loss meant pain, but this is a different kind of loss. This is the loss of confusion, the loss of effort, the loss of guilt. And it's not a sacrifice, it's a return. This world holds nothing that you really want. You thought it did. You thought the next win would satisfy. The next relationship would be safe, the next dollar would be enough, but none of it held, none of it stayed. So now the Course tells you, you were never wrong to want, you just forgot what it is you really want. And then this line, but what you choose instead, you want indeed. That means what you choose instead of the world, the peace, the stillness, the silence, the innocence, that is what you truly want. It's what you've always wanted. It's what you were made for. And it's not earned. Let it be given you today. Given. Not bargained for. Not achieved. Not deserved. Just given. Like breath, like light, like love. It waits. But for your choosing. And here's the punch. To take the place of all the things you seek but do not want. Woe. to seek what you do not want. That is the definition of a mind asleep. That's addiction. That's ego. That's the loop. To chase the praise, then resent the pressure. To desire the image, then hate the emptiness behind it. To win the game, then question why it feels so hollow. That's what it means to seek what you do not want and reject what would actually give you peace. But now you see it. Now you see through it. Now the real choice comes. And the world you truly want is not far. It's right here, waiting for your yes. Practice your willingness to make this change. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 at night, once more in between. It's not about time, it's about rhythm. A rhythm that breaks the loop of seeking and gently restores your mind to what you truly want. It begins with this. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. And that's not poetry. That's a key. I choose to see that world instead of this. Because here, right here, is nothing that I really want. And then it says, close your eyes upon the world you see. Let it fall away, not violently, not through rejection, but through stillness. And in the silent darkness, watch. Not with fear, not with demand, just watch. The lights that are not of this world begin to rise one by one. And as they rise, where one begins and another ends, loses all meaning. They blend in one. That right there is what scares the ego most. Because blending in one means no more special, no more hierarchy, no more me versus you. And yet, that's where the beauty lives. That's why in a school where every child wears the same clothes, there is peace, because judgment has fewer costumes to wear. That's why in an orchestra, one off note hurts the whole, because harmony knows when something doesn't belong. That's why sameness isn't dull, it's divine. Because God is in everything, and everything, when seen truly, blends. One light, one mind, one peace. So we're not just closing our eyes to escape, we're closing our eyes to see what was always there but hidden behind differences. And when the lights begin to rise, you remember, they were never separate. They were never yours or mine. They are all one light. And in that light, you finally rest. Today, the lights of heaven bend to you. They don't hover above you. They bow. They bend to touch you gently, to shine upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. The world of darkness is not hellfire. It's not damnation. It's confusion. It's chasing shadows and calling them salvation. It's putting your hope in what can't last and calling that security. It's living by comparison, compromise, and craving. That's the world of darkness. But now, here is light your eyes cannot behold. Why? Because physical eyes were made to see limits, to navigate form, to track contrast. They can't register oneness. They weren't designed to hold the infinite. But your mind can see it plainly. Because the mind was never truly bound. Your mind says, I know this light. Not because it was taught, but because it was remembered. This is the light of what you are. Too bright for the body, but natural to the soul. And then it says, a day of grace is given you today. Why? Because grace means you don't have to earn what was never taken. Grace means you are remembered, even when you forget. Grace means, today, you are let off the hook you put yourself on. And for this, we give thanks. Not out of duty, out of relief. And here comes the final line. The one that cracks the illusion wide open. We realize that what you feared to lose was only lost. What does that mean? Let's look. You feared losing the job, but it was never your purpose. You feared losing their approval, but it was never love. You feared losing control, but you never had it. You feared losing youth, but you were never the body. You feared losing security, but it was never found in time. You feared losing something real, but what was real can't be lost. So, what you feared to lose was already gone. A shadow, a mirage. The only thing that can be lost is what was never truly yours. And what's real? What's yours? Peace, love, light, union, innocence. These cannot be lost. So this day is a grace day, because we stop mourning illusions and start receiving the real. Now do we understand that there is no loss? We don't just believe it, we've seen it. We've seen its opposite, not in theory, but in light. We've felt the peace that doesn't vanish, the joy that doesn't flip sides, the love that doesn't require masks. And now, we are grateful. Not just because the truth is true, but because the choice is made. We're done evaluating, done testing the water. We stepped in, all the way. And now, hourly, we remember, not to earn, but to confirm. So we lay down the thoughts, the worries, the schemes, the comparisons, and we dwell, briefly, on this. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want, and that world is already here. And so are we.